Hi guys, welcome back. I haven't posted anything in a super long time, but I thought that maybe since we are doing absolutely nothing else, I would try to get back into YouTube and this whole thing. So I wanted to tell some stories, some horrible experiences that I've had, and we're gonna call the place that I worked at Galaxy Change, just so I'm not saying the actual name, but think about what I just said, Galaxy Change. Okay, so I wanted to tell some stories about working there, and I'm not necessarily talking about like working for the company or the people I worked with, mostly talking about like customer experiences. If you guys want to know like personal or like how I feel about the company, and the people that I worked with are great, so I don't have anything to say about that. But necessarily my experience of like if I would work at Starbucks again, maybe why I left, how I got started, anything like that, let me know. So first off, I want to start with the experience. So the store that I worked at multiple locations, but my two main stores, my main store that I worked at was in a mall, so it was a kiosk store. And I had worked there for about a year and a half, maybe. I was a regular barista, and then before my 1 year, I became a shift lead. So this was before I became a shift lead. I was a brand new barista, and I was working the cashier. I was doing like both bar and cashier. Sorry, my pool thing is on. So I was working both. Three of us were working, and my shift was on, and then I had another guy doing dishes, and I was just going back and forth because we were closing up pretty soon. So we stayed open a little bit longer than the mall did, just for like the employees and stuff. But usually like it was only like 30 to 45 minutes after. Sometimes an hour, but very rarely. So I was newer to the location, and I was taking orders, and this man comes up, and I'm helping a customer, and I kind of look over, and this man, he looks really dirty, like he just had like literally like dirt on his face, and his clothes, he had like a leather like biker jacket on, like other than the fact that he was like looked dirty, like I just kind of looked over, and that's the first thing I noticed. But then he gets a little closer, and I see that he's like covered in blood, like his ear like down, and then like on his face here, and like his clothes, like his leather jackets, like and his pants are like covered in blood. And I didn't want to like draw attention to the situation, but I kind of, was hoping that the two boys that were sitting behind me would turn around to look. So he comes up and he just stares at me. And then I see him stare at the canister of coffee. And I was like, hi, like anything I can get for you? And like he just looked over at the coffee and looked back at me. So I proceeded to just put some coffee in a cup, and I handed it over, and he walked away. Like he did not talk to me, nothing. So I turn and I'm trying to make a face or something to get my boss's attention, and he never looks. So then the guy kind of walks away. So I started walking towards the bar to like finish putting stuff away, and the guy turns around and comes back. And he says, can I tell you something? And I said, okay. And he goes, do you know who Arnold Schwarzenegger is? I said, yeah. And he said, okay. And I was like, okay. And then he was like, I went to prison with him. I said, oh, okay. Like, okay. And then and I like so uncomfortable because no one's paying attention to this man other than me. And so he goes, mind you, he's covered in blood, like everywhere. And so I said, oh, like, okay. And he said, do you want to know something else? And I said, what? And so he like grabs the the counter, like the little count, like the takeoff thing, and he like puts his hands on it and like leans super close, like past the mirror, like almost in the kiosk, and he like looks and he's like, and he gets really, and he like jerks forward and then turns around and starts like running, like running, left his coffee and running. And I literally started crying, and I was like, hello, did nobody see that? And everyone's like, what? And so like then my manager freaks out. He's like, call security. What? And so I was freaked out, and I think we packed up really fast that night and left. It was crazy. And then a second story was probably about I want to say like 5 months ago, not too long ago. I was a shift at this point, and I was opening, and it's really random that I opened because I'm usually a closer, but I was opening for some reason, and one other person was working with me, and it was me and this other boy, and our where our milk's at and stuff, they're in the back. Like we have to like go in a hallway, and it's like really far down, like it's nowhere near our little kiosk. So I'm starting to set up, so like I've already done like certain like things, but I'm just like kind of helping out, and he went to the back to go grab like extra milks and like things that we needed before we opened. And this man walks up to the store, and we're not opened yet, but so the mall opens, like they like let people in because like a lot of moms like run, not the point though, so like a lot of people come in. And so he comes up, and our like all of our baskets were like our cups and stuff are like smashed towards the kiosk. They're not like locked up or anything, but he walks up and he starts like looking at the thing, and I was like, hi sir, like is there anything I can help you with? And he like looks at me and looks down, and then like just keeps like picking up cups and like looking through stuff, and I was like, okay. So then I kind of just like was kind of hanging, like watching him, and I wasn't trying to like draw any attention to it, and I was by myself, and it's probably like 6 a.m, and so we're like walking, and then he walks a little more closer to where there's like we have like an opening like of the kiosk. He walks a little towards it, and there's more baskets, and so he goes towards those baskets and starts picking stuff up. So I asked him again, like, is there anything I can help you with? Like, we're not open right now, but like, you know, I could probably help you with something. And he literally just like looked at me and like looked back down. So then like a couple minutes later, he gets up, and I'm just trying to do my paperwork, kind of like watching and just trying to, you know, I'm just watching because like I'm like, I just don't know what you're doing. So he walks over, and there's like an opening, and he stands behind the opening, so I can no longer see him, but I know he's standing next to like where our ice comes in. So like if I were to go around the right, like literally open around the corner, he was standing right there where I couldn't see him anymore. So I got a little freaked out because like first off, my phone, like the phone's over there, like everything, and I have no idea what's going on. And I'm just standing there, and I'm like, okay, like what? And luckily, like a couple minutes later, the other worker comes by, and he walks around. He's like, is there something I can help you with? Because he's standing right next to our door. He's like, he just looks at him and walks away. So he keeps walking past, and the guy's like, are you okay? And I was like, dude, I don't know what just happened, but whatever, right? So I called security, and I was like, hey, just to let you know, like this gentleman's like in the mall, and I don't really know what he's doing, and just, you know, just kind of like letting them know just in case. And so I just had like a weird gut feeling about it, so that's why I just made sure. Which probably one of my favorite things about working in the mall is like not having to like physically kick people out myself, other than like if you're in a lobby. If you work at Starbucks, if you work at Galaxy Change, you know. so then he walks away, and then maybe like 30 minutes later, I see him on the second tier of the mall. We're in the lobby, and he has a map of the mall, and he's like following the map, like he's tracing the map with his hand, and then he like walks around and like does some weird stuff. Like he's just, I don't know, like he's just like kind of like tripping out, but like I don't know. So I was like, okay, and like at this point we're already open. We opened a little earlier before the mall opened, so at this point we're just serving employees, kind of like stuff like that. So I want to say maybe like 20 minutes later, I see him walk back down, and he's coming again from the back of our kiosk because there's stores behind us, and I see him with a t-shirt, and he didn't have that t-shirt. It looked brand new. It was like folded, and I know that my friend 4 stores down has like a little kiosk, and there's like shirts out, like he's a custom t-shirt maker, so it looked like he pulls it off there. So I called the mall again, and I was like, hey, just to let you guys know, like I see this guy again. He has a t-shirt, he didn't have it before, and I went and checked, and like there was a spot where you could see something was missing from one of the little like displays. And so I was like, I'm just letting somebody know, I obviously didn't do anything, but I just wanted to let somebody know. And so they're like, okay. So then a little bit later, he walks by again and then walks all the way down. And a little bit later, he comes in. So a little bit later, someone tells me that they're gonna go check on him and stuff, and like, no big deal, don't worry about it. So while this is happening, I like forget about it, like my day goes on. This man comes and he orders a bagel, and so we give him a bagel. Actually, he didn't actually have enough money for the bagel, so we one of us like paid for the bagel or something, or the person behind, someone paid for the bagel. And so he walks over to the handoff, and I was on bar because one of my people were on a break or something, and he grabs someone else's bagel off the counter. And I don't really think about it, like I'm just like, oh, maybe he just like, you know, grabbed the wrong bagel, like no big deal, like I'll just put another bagel out. But then I tell the other girl, like, hey, like that guy just took the bagel, and she's like, I have seen him so many times. He comes on the weekends and steals people's food. And I was like, great. So I don't ever open, so like I'm not really like, you know, I don't really know the regulars in the morning, mostly at nighttime. So he comes back and he orders another bagel. At this point he has change, so he pays for the bagel himself, and he walks over and doesn't wait for the bagel and steals somebody else's food. So at this point I'm like, okay guys, like we gotta take all the stuff in, and then like, you know, like just move it over, just because like we have especially like in our location we have so many mobile orders, because it's mostly people who are like going to work, running by and grabbing it and like going. There's not really time to like wait in line for other things, and you know that's the last thing you want, is to like have someone wait because our food got stolen. So then I was like, we have to grab it, and then I want to see, we got like super slammed, so like we didn't realize to grab the food, like something happened, so we just did it. And then I went on my lunch, or my break, and so I went on my break, and then the guy came back and stole 2 more things off the counter. Then after when I got like, my break was over at that point, so I walked back over and I like grabbed all the stuff, and I was like, we were supposed to pull this in, guys, like my fault, your fault, you know, like it was our fault, let's just move everything in, replace it. So finally he comes back one more time, and this time he orders it and he goes to grab it, and I was like, hey, like sorry, like that is not yours, like yours is coming right now. So then he realizes that like we catched on, and he's like, oh, okay. And I had to call security at this point, because like technically, like if you were in a store, like we would have kicked you out at this point, but because of our location, like there's not as much as we can do. So the people came over, and apparently he had stolen like 7 bagels and like a bunch of stuff that like I don't even know if we were paying attention or like what was happening, but like, so he got kicked out of the store. As I'm watching the man getting escorted from like our little like area, the police show up, and I was like, oh, okay, hi. And they're like, who's in charge? And I was like, me. And they're like, did you report like this guy? And they described the guy with a t-shirt. I was like, yes. And they go, oh, well, thanks for that. Like he was he's been running like the law, like the cops are looking for him, like he's wanted. So can we have you fill out this form? And I had to like testify and like give him my name and my ID, and like they had to like talk to me, and like I had to say all these things that happened, because he was wanted. And so they arrested him and took him back to wherever he needed to go. So I had to call the cops literally twice because not the cops, like the mall security, but like he was wanted, and the other guy was stealing food. And this all happened in like a 6-hour time period, and I don't think I opened in a very long time. But like I have so many more stories. I have like stories about people at the mall like cussing me out or like yelling at me. It's just like I have so many more stories. I have a story about a stalker. That's kind of a fun story. So if you guys liked this story and want to hear more, let me know, and like and subscribe. And I hope you guys had fun with this little fun story. I think they're kind of fun stories to tell. I have many more, so let me know if you guys liked it. Hope you guys have a great day.